Hey folks, how you doing today? I am about the same, still not moving very fast, but I'm going to take advantage of the downtime on my butt right now while my back heals up, and I'm going to try and get this region done today. What we're going to do on this little adventure is we're going to do a test run, complete the mission on the new little dock that's going to be at the far end of the beach on Outback Overlanding. Benefit of this is that you're going to get a direct route from this map to Tassie, which is going to save you a bit of time. The Outback port, which is what I've named the middle map, the little connecting map, actually is a fairly long paved road, and we all know paved roads can present their own kind of problems, I guess we could say, depending on how fast you want to go, and for some reason we all just want to go as fast as we can. So this is going to be a really good option to cut down time on a few of the tasks. Mind you, you're going to have to cross the river and so on, so you pick what you want to use, but it also gives us an opportunity to use one of these fancy highway trucks on this map. Didn't think I'd build much to accommodate it, but you know what, we got one long road to test our driving skill on Asphalt. Now we're going to head over with this 6-slot trailer. We need some slabs, some long planks, and some service parts. The way I figure, I got this 6-slot which should go through across the river fairly easy with the right truck, carry most of the stuff. So we're going to head over to the Outback port. We're going to go pick up some concrete slabs first. Now, as I said before, we're going to want to kind of take it easy so we don't have a massive accident. Some trucks are better than others on the asphalt. I put the road tires on. It's one of those things that gets a little better when you have some cargo weight behind the truck, I find too. I learned a lot building the highway hauling map on how far we can push the traction. If I could go back onto Bennington, I would probably take that big dip out of the middle, although it is a challenge. It's kind of a pain in the butt sometimes, but here we go. Exactly, got a little aggressive, so slow it down. It's just, when I tweak trucks, I always try to make a high gear that was right at that line of losing control so you could go as fast as you can. I find the automatic gearbox seems to almost want to change gears or keep pushing past that point, where if you can kind of feather the throttle a little bit and not quite full throttle, it'll keep you a little better in control. But bottom line is, I just wish that Asphalt worked a little better. I've tried all sorts of stuff. I've tried changing in the programming to make it think that it's a dirt road, and nothing really seemed to affect the traction on the roads that I could do. And I played around with it for quite a bit previously and just gave up. I was just kind of hoping that it would be popular enough, the highway stuff, that maybe they would look into it, they being the devs, but never really happened, unfortunately. Now we're just stopping to make sure that the fuel is working. That's something I forgot to add, and I just added. Again, we're just doing a quick test run here, and I want to see if the gateway actually functions properly, because I've never done a task focused gateway. Doesn't really say much in the manual. So I'm really just guessing on how I think it should be done. Pretty sure I did it right, but you never know until you actually test it. And then there's always the cameras that sometimes I put the wrong numbers in and things just don't go perfect. Now we're pulling up to the port here. We're going to load on the 2 concrete slabs, and then like I said, we're going to head back. I didn't put a ton of stock at the lumber store on service parts because the big place is going to be the wrecking yard over in Tassie if you run out. So we're going to grab 2 of the service parts on our way back through there, and then we're going to switch out to a truck that'll probably make it across the river a little bit easier than this one. Now here's where we get to find out if I put the right cargo in. I'm pretty sure I double checked just about everything, but like I say, I pretty much always forget something or hit a wrong button or who knows. A lot of these cargo input things, if you put your own stuff in instead of the drop down menus, which is quicker sometimes, and you don't hit enter, it doesn't save. You just click off of it, where if you use the drop down menus you don't have to hit enter. So there's all sorts of little human nuances to putting this together that can easily become errors. Again, that's why you kind of got to go through when we do the animated builds like you're going to see with this dock coming up. You have to name the model so the game knows what it's looking at. You have to go into the programming and find how the model's built, because there'll be a couple names that you need to tell the zone editor what to use. Then you got to make sure you put them in order of how the build goes and which cargo and when it's supposed to build. So the whole thing is just really easy to make a mistake, which is why you can't just assume it works. Now, a typical task you're just going to send from one place to the other is pretty straightforward. You can tell without testing, but a lot of stuff like that is just, it adds to time. I wish that the devs gave us the ability in the dev tools to actually spawn cargo onto our truck, because I'd love to be able to just put cargo into the unload so I could test that this build setting happens properly, rather than actually having to complete the whole task. In the past, I've put like little loading stations beside stuff like that, but then you end up running the risk of forgetting to take something out, or I don't know. You just gotta go through and test it, and I guess it's beneficial because you get to see the challenge in the task. I usually have most things tested some shape or form, but I won't spend, like, I've never played the map fully through start to finish. I kind of do it in chunks and do little tests here, and if I've run that road a few times, I'm not going to run it for every single task. So it's just kind of a balance between the time it takes testing and I guess experience in knowing what's going to work without having to get in game, and then knowing what I can easily make mistakes on. We're actually having a pretty good run down the road here. I'm surprised that haven't had any real accidents. Again, it's going to be a chance to go for a couple. I think there's a few tasks where you'll have to come across this map. Now, mind you, depending how early you open this dock and what you're pulling, you could just come across the beach and get into the muddy river, but it's up to you guys. The option's there. But there are a few tasks where you're going to have to go to that port to pick up. So we'll see how it all goes. So I think what we'll do here is, like I said, we'll pull in, we'll quickly grab the service parts, and then we'll park the trailer and go switch out to something that'll get across the river and up the beach. I've never actually pulled a trailer this big into the lumberyard, and I don't remember making a whole lot of extra room, so let's see if we can squeeze in here. Yeah, there's enough room. Probably couldn't do an 8 slot, but that sounds like a challenge, I'm sure, to some. See if you can squeeze an 8 slot in there. There is going to be a task or two that could justify pulling a trailer that big if you want to try it. Yeah, so we got 10 service parts. I think there's a few tasks. Well, I know there's a few tasks that use them. So I think what you're going to have to do is figure out which ones you're going to want to go adventure, or bring a load of service parts back from Tassie. I guess when you're on your way back over, there might be some at one of the factories over on the Outback port map. So check it out. I can't remember, but I may have put a few in somewhere. So I think we will just pull her over right here, unhook, and let's switch into something that's going to do a better job. This thing did what we needed to do, and I think we're done with it on these two maps. It's not going to get very far the way it's set up right now, that's for sure. Okay, so we are back out in the Voron Next Combat, an RSK mod. Side effect of uninstalling and reinstalling Snowrunner yesterday was that all my mods did get deleted, so this is just what I had in the garage. I forgot to enable most of them because I've been just kind of letting it sit and download the 100 mods or whatever I have there. So anyways, we're taking this guy out. It's a good little truck. We got the high-end motor in it and the active suspension, so it should be able to get us over to the dock that we're going to try and fix up here. And then we can see if my task is actually going to work properly. I know the delivery side of it is working properly, but this will be a test if, first of all, if it builds the animated stages the way it's supposed to. And the second part of the task is if the gateway opens up, it connects with the Tassie trailing map. Well, I guess it's time to see what this thing can do. I know I've had some challenges with some of the scouts and stuff, but this thing's just kind of walking right through it. Yeah, no, this isn't tough at all. I'm actually pretty impressed with this thing so far. Those the concrete slabs are one of the heavier loads, I think, in the game, and it's just walking right through this. Good choice of truck, I guess we'll say. It has a lot of different add-ons too. Actually, it's most of his trucks have that logging add-on too with the trailer that they made, and I believe at least some of them have the trailer that folds right up on the truck, the long log trailer, so a pretty neat little mod. Remember it from Mudrunner, had a lot of them. Alright, we're slogging down a bit here, but nah, we're still moving. Can't really complain too much. We get on the beach and maybe we can make a bit of time up. Let me know what you guys think about the difference. If you notice on the Tassie trailing map, I actually used the foam thing for the brush for rivers. I used around the edge of the beach just to kind of give it a bit of that choppy water, and kind of makes it feel more tropical when I look back at this one. I hadn't even tried it. It was when I built the Tassie map that I thought it might kind of look neat, and now that I'm seeing this in Outback Overlanding, I'm almost thinking I should add that in. Let me know what you guys think. If you saw the video before this, you'll see how much more I've added into the beach on the Outback Port map. It's got a lot of rolling hills. It should be fun to get some of those little buggies out and run down and do some jumping and just kind of some fast dune running. Tried to make it so they connect up a bit so you can get some pretty good momentum if you get a fast gearbox in them. Speaking of gearboxes, choosing the off-road one was a bad decision. Just for your guys' future runs. It's a little slow on this nice flat beach here, so just gonna have to deal with it. This is gonna be the downfall of having the direct route from between these two maps, is that it's way the heck down the beach over here. Gonna have to kind of weigh the options if you want to scoot all the way across here or go across the other map. One thing I will say I've noticed too, and I kind of forgot, is when you don't have many mods enabled, the loading screens are like on my machine. I do all this work on I have an i5 9400 and I have an RTX 3060, 16 gigs of RAM, so by no means do I have a rocket ship computer, but it does the job. A map like this, Outback Overlanding, I think in the editor it uses about 9 to 10 gigs of RAM for once the map's fully built, which is kind of on the high end. I don't know, I probably have a couple other maps, like maybe Bennington, that would have a similar amount of RAM usage just with all the stuff. Okay, so there's confirmation that the cargo task, which I knew it did because I can tell that in the programming, and when I come in game I can see it tells you where to pick the stuff up and where to drop it off, so we're good there. Let's back it up, and then we got to go get the long planks, which are over in Tassie at the wood mill. So let's switch out trucks here and we'll go run a load over. It's just a single load, which is 4 slots. So we got the mega cab dually, and I believe this is IR's flatbed. I know it's been a favorite for a long time for many, and a lot of people get access to using it with their mods. Alright, the old gateway switch here. I really haven't used the mega cab too much because when not long after it came out I started doing the Aussie stuff, and it seems like so many of us just want to use the Aussie vehicles in those maps, and I've kind of been stuck, and plus there's so many awesome vehicles to choose from now, but I've been using them significantly more than anything else lately, which of course John Hot Rod has many of both varieties, your North American and your Australian. This thing's actually reasonably good on the asphalt, and I put on their stockish mud tires because I thought we might get into it on Tassie. We'll see which route I take. Gosh, you could, the trails in Tassie, you could make it take an hour or 15 minutes, depending if you want to go straight up through the middle and take what comes, or if you want to head around the outside and take the beach. Speaking of which, this beach to the left of us is always an option. Most of it has rollers and jumps and stuff that you can really just cruise across at a high speed, but right along the water is quite flat. And I didn't put really any mud in. Actually, I don't even think I mudded it up at all, just wetness, so you'll sink a little bit. But I wanted this one to be a high-speed beach, so I kind of left it easier to travel than the other ones. I'm quite impressed with the traction of this thing. It's doing good. I can actually lay on it a bit here, and I don't feel like I'm still scared, don't get me wrong. I'm feeling a little tense, but letting it roll, building some confidence. Have to see what he's got the asphalt traction, but even that doesn't make as big a difference as you think. Alright, this is the last time we have to come across this way, right? Because we go get this load, bring it back, we're gonna have the quick jump that just goes straight to Tassie. And it should unload you right beside where this one does. You just can access it from the other side of the map, and you don't have to go through the middle map. Alright guys, we are in Tassie trailing. We just got to scoot over to the lumber mill. You may have seen in an earlier video when I rebuilt the watchtower on Tassie trailing. That was the first time you saw the wood mill. It was kind of a late addition, but I needed some place to get planks from, and I figured I could work it into the region here. So we are going to... Let's just scoot across the beach today, just to kind of expedite the process. Part of me kind of wants to take this thing off-road there and see what it does with the flatbed, but I do need to get this testing done because I want to get this thing out to you guys. So we're just going to scoot up the beach with probably both directions, in and out, to try and get the job done. I'm trying to make a bit of a list so that I can make a lot of the fixes all at once, just to cut down. As I've said in other videos, if you change anything on the ground, like models, trees, or anything, you need to rebuild the terrain, which basically re-renders everything, puts the shadows and grass back down, and so on. So any physical changes of the map, you have to do that, and on my machine it takes probably 3-4 minutes. And then after you're done that, you need to pack the map, which puts it into the game usable files and splits it up to the different consoles. And that takes, geez, probably 10, sometimes 15 minutes. And I know there's a lot of folks that wait a lot longer, depending on what kind of machine they're using. So, and then the other step with a region is you actually have another region zone settings, and you have to put the 3 maps into this region setting, and then all the tasks and stuff that are tied to the region, the 3 maps as a whole, are put in there. Then you have to pack that, and geez, I think since the last update, that takes, it used to only take a minute or 2, and now I bet you it takes a good 5 or 6 minutes. And the whole process, I mean, with those amount of times, I know it doesn't sound like much, but if you do that 4 times in a day, and you got 3 maps in the region that if I change something, I have to at least repack, so you're 10, 12, 15 minutes. Like, you're talking hours of just kind of waiting for the game to do its thing. I get frustrated sometimes. It's kind of funny, but I would love to know how much time I've sat and waited for this program to do its thing, and just waiting for it. It'll be on my Snowrunner hours on Epic. I think it was at 65 days was the total. It was like 1,340 hours or something like that, I want to say. So it's a fair bit. And honestly, I think maybe 30 hours we're playing. I played right up until they released the mod editor. And I was really let down when the mod editor didn't ship with the game right away. Because that's what I was waiting for. Not a lot of winch points here. Something to keep in mind. You guys think I should add a couple trees or something a little closer, or do we like the challenge? I'm sure if I had stayed inland a little bit more, it's not quite as deep, but I got a little bit left here. I wonder if the gooseneck's hung up a bit. One of these has got to be solid. Alright, here we go. I have been washed away 2 different times right out into the ocean, and if you get out past where it opens up a bit, I've actually kind of swirled the direction of the water, and it kind of sucks you into a it kind of looks like a whirlpool, actually. But if you get stuck out there, I had to recover last time. I couldn't even get a truck close enough without getting stuck to get it out. It was a write-off. So this is what I was talking about with the foam along the edge of the beach, and it really does kind of sell that tropical feel a little bit more than just kind of plain boring one over on Outback Overlanding. Again, let me know if you guys like it better, or you like the contrast between the two maps. I mean, this is a much more tropical feeling map than the Overlanding map. Alright, we got the road here, which means we are not far. Although still plenty of time to have an accident if we've all learned anything from Snowrunner. This little mega cab is it's a solid little truck. Again, I've got it set up mostly stock, and you can make it pretty OP if you want, and I like having the options. Something I did want to pass on is I actually just kind of by accident found a fellow YouTuber. His name's MJ Haggis is his channel title. I'll link it down below, but I've been watching him go through the highway hauling the region, which I really haven't paid much attention to for a very long time, and it's been really fun to watch this fella go work his way through the map. And yeah, I don't know, he's a pretty amusing guy, seems to have a lot of fun playing, and you guys should definitely check out his channel if you're interested in a little Let's Play adventure. And like I said, he's pretty amusing to watch. I've enjoyed it so far, and it's been actually really fun, like I said, to watch somebody pick through that map. It's been long enough that I've forgotten some of the things, and anyways, check them out if you guys are interested. So we are pulling up to the lumber mill here. What I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut right over to the delivery, because the trip back was about the same. This one is by far not the toughest mission, but it's one of those ones you're going to want to get done before you get too far into it, because it's going to save you some time. So we'll see you guys on the other side. Alright guys, here we are pulling up to the dock to finish off the contract. Let's see if we have the model build set first, and then we'll see if the gateway works. So, right on. It's working. That's exactly what we wanted. I combined two models into one here. And I wish I could make that boat pull up, but I just don't have the capabilities. Perfect. Alright, let's see if my guess on setting up the gateway was the right way to do it. Seemed the only logical way. Beautiful. Oh, no, not so beautiful. We just came out of the ground. Anyways, guys, there's another fix I gotta make. Thanks for hanging around. We'll talk to you all again real soon.